Siemer Milling Company and has been since 1986. Rick is a graduate of Metropolis High School, the University of Illinois, and Duke University School of Law. He's an Eagle Scout. He's active in Southeastern Illinois Community Foundation, Lincoln Trails Boy Scouts of America, and United Way of Effingham County. He has served for 12 years on the Metropolis Unit 50 School Board, was president at one point. Rick and his wife Diane are parents of 3, grandparents of 4, and it's an intriguing topic today. I'm sure that's why many of you showed up. Rick is speaking today on why college is a waste of time and money. Please welcome Rick Siemer.
Thank you, Greg. Yes, I am very proud to say that I was an employee of Joe McNaughton at one time at WCRC. A lot of lonely nights. Friday, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon, I had no social life at all. My compliments to Tom Henderson, my friend, and Dairy Queen in Effingham, Warren Buffett's best company. Without question. Is there anybody in the room who isn't a big fan of dilly bars? My compliments too to, oh, sorry about that, Henry Chocolate, yeah. You got other flavors, don't you like butterscotch? My compliments also to our good friends in T-Town, Stevens Industries, on your 60th anniversary. You know, you're getting close to half Siemer Milling Company's age. Sorry to tell you, you're never going to get there. But gosh, 500 employees, 3 times what Siemer Milling Company has, and you know, I love every one of ours, but you're welcome to 500. And you are 100% employee owned. We're only 40% employee owned, so good on you for that. That's the ESOP is an absolutely fantastic thing to do with the company. Great for the people, great for the company. And I want to congratulate and express my admiration for the scholarship recipients today. You know, we come, Siemer Milling Company brings some people, and I'm one of them, that comes every year to this scholarship presentation. And I'm always so impressed with the people who are getting the scholarships. You know, you have your heads on straight. You know, you look at your CV, your resumes, what you've done, what you plan to do. You know, you have serious objectives. Some of you are experienced and know exactly what it is you want. And you're ready to make an effort. You've made efforts and succeeded up to this point. Not everyone is like that. I mean, you could look at me, for example. I spent 7 years in college back in the dark ages. I got a BA in political science. I got a law degree. And I spent 40 years working for a grain processing company. How does that happen? Well, I had the benefit of being a member of the Lucky Sperm Club. That's an interesting club. If you're not already in it, you're not eligible. But I've had a good time with that. But I have to say, I'm just not at all sure that I've got a whole lot to say to the people receiving these scholarships need to hear. But I'm being paid for 10 minutes, and so that's what you're going to get. I'm sure that most of you who thought about the title I gave this little talk understood that it was kind of a tease, set up. It's not perhaps college. Why college is a waste of time and money, but when college is a waste of time and money. And that's if you're not there to learn. Not everybody needs to go to college. I think, as time goes on, I recognize that more. That, there's ways to achieve great things and to have really satisfying occupations without a college education. And frankly, I believe that today's college model has some serious problems. Not across the board, but culturally and academically and financially, all three. Some changes, in my opinion, that we made. I was intrigued to see that only 55% of first-time undergraduates, quote unquote, graduate in 6 years or less. You know, there's something wrong with that situation. But I'm not here to talk about what's wrong with college. You know, if you're diligent and disciplined, you can get a great education in college that's not available elsewhere. And clearly the people, because you're going to hear this in a few minutes, the people who are receiving the scholarships are exactly in that situation. They need to go to college, and they're going to achieve great things as a result of it. But I would like to go on to suggest that there are 3 qualities that will make both college and life worth the time and the money. They are love of learning, or love learning, have a passion for accomplishment, and gain wisdom. So love learning first. You know, at Siemer Milling Company, we want to be a learning organization as distinct from a knowing organization. A learning organization is one that is always open to new things, that understands that we can benefit from what others are doing, following their example, benchmarking ourselves against them, that the world is changing and we need to be receptive and ready to change. Knowing organizations tend to be complacent, they tend to be arrogant, they tend to be controlling, they tend to be dictatorial. You know, probably the most obvious example is all those entities that belong to an industry that begins GOV. So we do want to be a learning organization, and you know, we have people in our organization, that individuals that also qualify in that regard. Like some of you may know Vernon Red Tegler, who is our Vice President of Production. You know, he's been with us for over 40 years, a little longer than I have, as a matter of fact. You know, never went to college, never went to a trade school, but he is around the world, he is recognized as one of the foremost flower mowers. He is a respected individual in the entire industry, and I do mean worldwide. He is, of course, one of our major contributors at our company, and he is still motivated every day to learn more about what's going on in milling. It's just, you know, it's enthusiastic to be with him, to, you know, here's somebody who always wants to know what's happening next, who's doing it, why are they doing it, what are they doing. Another person I'm going to reference, not part of the Siemer Milling Company, but in the audience today, is Katie Siemer. I didn't know she was going to be here until a day or two ago, and she didn't know I was going to talk about her until right now. She also spent 7 years in college, and she got her, unlike me, she was a little more focused, she got her physical therapy degree. She's a licensed physical therapist working at Anderson Hospital over in Maryville, Illinois. And I observe her, and it is so much fun to see someone who's been now a therapist almost 2 years, and learning things, and so excited about learning new things. She's been doing continuing education on manual therapy, the laying on of hands, literally. It's almost sacramental, that, you know, the discovery that there's so much to be gained by working, you know, hands-on with patients, almost the spiritual as well as the physical benefit. And it's just, you know, as a father in particular, it's wonderful to see someone who is enjoying learning so much. I could quickly cite, you know, 2 of our famous local sons, Joe Fothery and Craig Lindvall. You know, they moved on from what they originally were teaching and learned on their own to teach other things, graphic arts in particular. And now they too are known worldwide and throughout the country for their extraordinary gifts and the extraordinary talents and the contributions they make to the students who are fortunate enough to work with them. I saw a quote by Henry Ford the other day, and I think Hunter Nebrugge might recognize this. The way to learn to do things is to do things. The way to learn a trade is to work at it. Success teaches how to succeed. So that's the kind of learning that, you know, everybody has to practice. You know, loving that learning that goes beyond the classroom, beyond the textbook. Passion for accomplishment. You know, Siemer Milling Company, again, doesn't place great emphasis on academic credentials. Maybe that's just inherent in our industry. High school diploma or GED for most positions. a BS or an AS, if certain skilled positions. Out of 17 senior managers, we have 1 professional, 10 bachelor, and 1 associate degrees, and two of those are mine, and they don't count. It's the desire to learn and the drive to accomplish that matters. And, you know, for those of you who are just going into college, you know, you have to recognize that's often going to take you places that you didn't plan to go. I could cite locally here people you might know. Siemer. He has a degree from the U of I in ceramic engineering, and he didn't get that degree so he could learn how to wash dishes. He got a boring job in the auto industry, then an opportunity to do something that he was kind of familiar with, cooking. Came back here, started a restaurant with his partner, Sandschafer, and now that is, you know, Niemer Steakhouse is literally one of the most successful restaurants in the United States, one of the top 500 grossing restaurants in the U.S. And when you recognize what they charge, you know, it takes a lot of business for them to be in the top 500 grossing restaurants. Dr. Rick Workman, he's a dentist. Started out as a dentist, got that degree. He himself admits it's not a very good one, not a very enthusiastic one, but he did see a way to improve dentist productivity and then built an amazing business. I don't know if he still keeps up his practice, but you know, obviously what he's doing is not what he learned how to do in school. And his friend and my friend, Mike Yeager, started as a tool and die maker, but he was passionate about his hobby with Corvettes, started selling t-shirts from his car trunk, and created a great story and a great following. So, you know, that's just what I'm saying is if you're passionate about accomplishing, as often as not, you're going to find yourself doing wonderful things, just not the things that you started off with. And third, gain wisdom. Famous passage from the book of Proverbs in the Bible, chapter 4, verse 7. Getting wisdom is the wisest thing you can do. And whatever else you do, develop good judgment. So I encourage you to do a handful of things. Cultivate your spiritual dimension. And that does mean getting to know God. If I recommend one book, C.S. Lewis, you may know him from the Chronicles of Narnia, but he wrote some amazing stuff in terms of explaining Christianity and explaining spiritual life. And his short book, Mere Christianity, which is just meaning simple Christianity, is really worth a read. If you're a little doubtful about your faith, or if you want to know a little bit more about why you believe, if you're a Christian, then I strongly encourage you to read Mere Christianity. Use your common sense. I'm going to ask several people at our table to pass out something I brought with me. It's an old-fashioned poem. You know, they used to write poems that you really enjoyed reading. And this is by a gentleman named Rudyard Kipling. Show of hands, anybody recognize that name? He was the most popular author in the English language in the early 20th century. Wrote some great stuff. I love reading his poems. And this is one called The Gods of Copybook Headings. I'm not going to explain it in great detail, but it's all about common sense. And I just, if you get a copy of it, I don't think we have enough for everybody. I encourage you to read through it and understand, boy, it could have been written yesterday in what he talks about, even though it was written back in 1919. Appreciate other people. There's a gentleman in Champaign. He's spoken here in Effingham a couple of times in the last year. Habib. He has a great personal story, coming as a student from Lebanon, losing contact with his family for an extended period of time, really struggled to get his feet on the ground and get going. Very successful now. And he says the key to success in his career, and he thinks for many other people, be kind. Be kind and be civil. Be polite, in other words, and considerate. Forgive others. Love learning. Have a passion for accomplishment. Gain wisdom. And one final bit of advice. My favorite, I think the most, well, how do you say the most important verse in the Bible? But my favorite, most meaningful, Matthew 22, 36 to 39. A scribe asked Jesus, which is the most important commandment in the law? And Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, and mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second most important is like it, similar to it, as good, as much, as important as. Love your neighbor as much as you love yourself. I wish the best to our scholarship recipients today. Congratulate you one more time, and thank you for being an example to all of us.